about one of the most outstanding females in history, in my opinion, which is why I was sort of fascinated about your choice. So.
Oh, I love biography.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay. Well, this one was up.
We're back.
We are back. And so now we're going to go to Patty's movie. Patty.
Oh, my movie is Radioactive.
I want to tell you about radium.
A most peculiar and remarkable element because it does not behave as it should. Science is changing. And the very people who are running science are the people who believe the world was flat. And I'm going to prove them wrong.
You're Maria Sklodowska. I'm Pierre Curie. Your science is brilliant.
You're proposing a partnership.
That's exactly what I'm doing. You're just extraordinary.
There is another element that's skewing the results.
You think you found an undiscovered element?
You have fundamentally misunderstood the atom.
Our work's been nominated for the Nobel Prize for our discovery of radioactivity. And the commendation only mentions my name.
I'm just the wife, isn't that right?
When have I ever treated you
I am the wife of Pierre Curie. I want to protest in the strongest possible terms. It is a distinct lack of respect.
They don't like you here.
When have other people's opinions ever affected anything I've done?
You did the extraordinary. You changed the world.
There are those that say that radium is making them sick.
He's invented a poison!
The things that make us weak are the things that make us strong. My science could cure cancer. This is my fight. And I will win it.
It's about Madame Curie. And I love biographies, especially somebody so amazing. Do you know what I mean? Mm. So Madame Curie is portrayed by, I hope I say her name right. Rosamund Pike.
I was gonna say also known as Madam Curie.
Did I say Madame?
No,
She's right.
I thought we said she had the name right. You're thinking about Rosamund Pike. I thought we were talking about Madam Curie.
Rosamund Pike.
I think that's
Madam Curie. Pierre Curie is Sam Riley, and Anya Taylor-Joy plays her daughter, Irene. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Irene Curie. Okay, so that's a true story, because I don't think most people know the story of Madame Curie. I know I didn't.
I didn't either.
Oh.
So it starts with, I mean, I know about the radium thing, but
no details.
So it starts with how she meets her future husband. But it also, in this one short piece, it really shows her type of personality, how she's really totally passionate about science, and they end up working together. And they discover two unknown elements. What's it called?
Radium.
Palladium.
Palladium. I wrote it here somewhere. Yeah. Palladium and radium. And you see the process of how he gets nominated for the Nobel Prize with not her name. You really also see how women in any kind of science was treated. You know what I mean? Just she did not get included. But it's done subtly, which is great.
Well, I like the fact that that's why she left Poland for France, because she could not get any schooling in Poland, her homeland.
Now that is
that tells you
tough times,
exactly,
right? Mm-hmm. And so you see that as time goes on, you're starting to see the good and the bad of radium. You see like Hiroshima, you see Chernobyl. But you see an X-ray machine. You see how radiation helps cancer. Mm. And it goes back and forth all the time to the good and the bad. Good and the bad that George had to point out to me in the movie, right?
What is happening?
Yeah. So then Pierre dies, her husband, because of a freak accident with the horse and carriage. I mean, and she's devastated because you could tell they really had a great relationship. He was super supportive of her, and she kind of fell apart, which makes sense. They've had 2 daughters, one Irene and one, what was the other one? Eva, that's it. And you see how she becomes close to, what was the first one?
Irene.
Irene?
Or Iran is how she would pronounce it. Yeah.
And they start working on things. Yeah. Still trying to learn Spanish, George. I'll work on French later. So she continues her work, and she's passionate as ever. And she has an affair, but it's out of grief. You know, people, as Susie said, people do crazy things when you're in grief. And she has like a little affair with one of her assistants.
Well, her husband's students, basically.
Yeah. And who's married. And
Who's her friend?
yeah.
Right, exactly.
But they don't dwell on it, except everybody now hates her, right? Because all the women.
That was sort of famous, scandalous at the time.
Was it really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant that one was scandalous.
Her affair with the student was made public, so it was very scandalous.
Well, the woman needs what woman needs. You know, the heart wants what the heart wants. And so you see her go and keep trying to work, and luckily her daughter comes around with a new concept. Like, it's the First World War, and she goes and she drags her mother to like the fighting area and says, these men's legs are being cut off, their arms are being cut off because
Basically a sprained ankle.
because they have nothing to show them what's wrong. So they developed the X-ray machine, which is, as we all know, great, right? So she wins the Nobel Peace Prize.
The daughter.
No.
Oh, her. Yeah, for chemistry.
In Sweden, only because the women's movement there insisted on it. And so she got to go, which I thought was nice.
Oh, yes. Well, they said it's better if you don't come.
Yeah.
Well, again, because of the scandal. See, that's what I'm saying. That's how huge that thing was, where they said, oh, you're getting a Nobel Peace Prize, but please don't show up. You're too controversial. We don't mind your crazy science, but boy, have an affair with a man, jeez, that's bad.
Yeah, I know. They never blame the guy.
Exactly.
Right? So she's slowly, like, coughing seems to be the big thing of, you're going to be dead soon, right?
Her and her husband at the time,
And so it really becomes, it's true. There's coughing, you start wanting to go yourself. So in the later years of her life, because she has been so exposed to radium, that they call it a plastic anemia, but that's a cause because of radium. Right. And she dies. But as Susie said, her 2 daughters become Nobel Peace Prize.
Not Peace Prize.
No.
Nobel
Peace
winner.
Prize.
Well, not her
I keep
daughter.
writing Peace Prize.
Her daughter actually married the man who received the Nobel Peace Prize.
And she probably helped him a lot.
No, her daughter received a Nobel Prize.
Well, Irene did. Her and her husband did, right?
Yes.
But she said the 2 daughters. But Eve married another philanthropist,
right.
And he won on behalf. I don't know if he won it, but he accepted for UNICEF.
And she became I think he was a writer. She wasn't into the science, I think.
Right. So I thought it was beautifully edited. I thought the dialogue was really clever, especially showing in such a short time at the beginning what her personality was. It was blunt,
defensive,
real defensive, and a little bit arrogant in a way. Do you know what I mean? And I just loved it. And I also like the cinematography. That's big to me. How they colored everything. Do you know what I mean? Was it too bright? It wasn't too dark. So, yeah. I loved it.
George?
Oh, me already.
Why did they take too long?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Oh, no. So,
wake up, George.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Let's go over something. I enjoyed it too. I like a couple of things I liked in the movies was how they show, how science, how it's used in the future. Like, and it shows you both. It shows you that it's used to cure cancer or help, with cancer, and it's also used for distraction. And I like how they did that. Like she was coming up with some new thing, and then the movie would jump right into the future, and you see that like the
Hiroshima.
Japanese kids looking at what's called the Enola Gay, is that what the bomb was called? Coming down, or you see Chernobyl, you see how the consequences of science on both sides, the positive and the negatives of it. How depends how people use it. I like that. I like that they had a lot of kind of dreamy sequence, kind of like
that was
like when she's talking about the uranium or the and they showed you the thing. Like I was watching a science show, where they show you the thing is spinning and you see the stars. So they went to like I was watching the Cosmos, the Neil deGrasse Tyson when they show you the things, and so I like that. There was a couple of things like they did have a couple of inaccuracies, and some people would complain about it. That like when the thing that her husband Pierre went to accept the Nobel Prize. Actually, they both went. He declined initially because he was sick and he hates public speaking. So they ended up going the year after together to accept, because it's mandatory that you have to make a speech. So the year afterwards, they both went to accept it and do the speech. So they changed that part of it. Also, there was some criticism of the movie that by historians, that they made her character a little too, not like that's really quite wasn't her personality. They were doing it for the Hollywood liberty to make the movie more interesting. But they're saying that no, that really wasn't her personality.
What was it like?
Well, I'm not sure. That's the
Were
thing.
any of them there?
But they were, right? Yeah, exactly. I
Really
was hanging
got
out with her.
Yeah. She really got criticized in the reviews.
Yes, but we don't know how her response is. That's really what we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought this. I don't know if it was nominated for anything, but I thought it should have been nominated for
Me too.
for an Oscar. I thought it was just those kind of movies like The Dig. I enjoyed that kind of. If I'm watching a serious movie, it did have those little fantasy elements like jumping back and forth in time and all that. And I was going, wow, she's I had seen this movie before, and at that time I didn't know who Rosamund Pike was. I saw it, I still didn't know who Rosamund Pike was, and then when out she won the Golden Globe for the Icarella movie, so now it's like, oh, and then I saw it again. It's like, wow, she actually is a really good actress. She's really good.
Yeah,
Is she British?
Yes.
And then it's fun. Oh, it's funny because I was saying that a lot of those scenes reminded me of the Gambit miniseries, the chess.
Right.
Well, yes,
the Queen's Gambit, and who actually played her daughter.
Yeah.
Because
Anya
when she's
Taylor.
staying on the ceiling and going through things. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. I had some interesting things.
Can I say one thing if
Oh,
you're
okay.
finished?
Yeah.
It's 62% Rotten Tomatoes. And every review, and I read about 20 of them, just said she was horrible, Rosamund Pike.
Oh, and that was the critics. The audience gave it 44.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, I watched it. We actually watched it when it came out.
Oh, wait, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I watched it again last night with you.
Right.
And I liked it even better the second time. I liked it the first time, and
Right.
I loved it the second time. It was great. I would say that Madam Curie, according to this movie, is not the most pleasant person you would ever want to meet. But it does come across like she's a real person, warts and all. I like the way they jump back and forth between the future and the present and the future. It's like, they didn't really start that till a little later on in the movie, but I really like that. I loved her oldest daughter, and I loved Anya Taylor-Joy, the Queen's Gambit girl.
She plays the oldest daughter.
Yeah, I was going to say about Rosamund Pike that she's kind of the American
Tilda
Swinton, but she's actually English, so... because I've seen her in many
The
roles,
Brits,
and
they're taking our jobs.
I don't recognize her all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like she just changes her look all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I would really like to know more about that daughter because I just loved her character. I thought it was great. I thought the first half of the movie was kind of less interesting than the second half of the movie. Because the first half of the movie is kind of basically a love story, and
But not sickeningly.
oh well,
I don't like love
I thought it was
stories.
kind of sickening. But Okay, but that's kind of what happened, right? So
Right.
yeah, so I really like this movie. I'm glad to hear that this is not her personality. I don't believe it was her personality. She's very unempathetic, I would say, in this movie, right? That towards other people and their issues. But yeah, I liked it. I liked the movie.
See, I'm like you. I didn't like the first part of the movie. Having seen like several Madame Curie movies, that's the funny thing that you mentioned, because the first, well, I will put it this way. I didn't really care for Rosamund Pike in this role. I didn't like the characterization of her until her husband dies. That first 45, 50 minutes of that movie, right, is their love story. But see, that's always been what people center on because of the fact that not only did, they won a Nobel Prize together, right, but they were husband and wife. They're also academics, and the fact that they've always, I haven't yet to hear any contradictory terms about how they did not love one another, that everyone knew, right? So that was when I realized what they're portraying. What I did like is they did show like their hard work and what they had to do, because they're not kidding that they had to break up tons of that coal or uranium to get what they were searching for, right? So that was hard work and 4 years of work, right? And them, of course, getting sick. So once her husband dies, that's when I really admired Rosamund Pike's performance, because she really just
comes into her own.
It sort of the way Wonder Woman, when she steps on the battlefield in World War II on the No Man's Land, she's no longer taking orders. She's becoming her own person and taking the lead now.
Good
and
analogy.
That's the same way I'm seeing her. Is that okay? She had to always placate to her husband, even though she knew it was her idea about looking for this radium or this element that she knew that the atom could not be stable, and that she was going to defy science at the time, right? And he is the one who said, okay, let's have a partnership. I have the equipment and the know-how and the lab to do it, but you're the mind who came up with what we're going to try and do,
He was so supportive.
So, but that's what I'm saying. They were like a perfect partnership. That's why in everything, personal life, science, academia, everything. So when he passed away, sort of suddenly, it was sort of shocking, especially the fact that they had 2 kids. So picture this, a woman who then becomes the first woman to sit as a scholar and teacher at a university in France. I think it was Sorbonne. I'm not even sure what university. Taking her husband's seat, basically, right?
That's right.
And that's why it's like, and I love that scene. That's like the perfect scene where, we're off, you have a chance. And she says, well, she basically says, you know what I'm worth academically. If that doesn't satisfy you, then don't give it. She said, don't give me out of pity. And this is, like I said, this is when I love this character. That's how I always saw her. Not so much like the awkward person, like when Pierre and her first meet, right? The book thing, and you read this person, the scientist, you read the clue, it's like, yes.
But she's younger.
Oh, no, and I get that. But she's also a foreigner, too. See, I'm taking that because you have to realize that when she went to college, she supposedly, starved, saving all her money to go to college. And her sister is also a very important character.
Yes.
Her sister, they had both, again, I don't know, just because I read so much about her, they sort of agreed to help each other. Like,
I'll send you
Curie, Maria, as she was known in her country. Oh, I will go and become like a nanny and a tutor to people and get money, and I'll send you to school, and vice versa happen, right? So I really like that, and how important her sister was to her, because another great scene for me is when she did have the affair and they're sitting out on the street, and her sister, she says, people are looking. And Marie Curie, because she's famous, because she's a Nobel Prize winner at this time, says they're always looking, and the sister says, but they're looking at you with hate. And when you see her just like shrug her shoulders and just smile and be at the cafe, I thought that's sort of like the Madame Curie I sort of did pictures, thinking, you know what, as any genius science, let's face it, they are going to be arrogant. They are going to be sort of self-centered,
They're also
egotistical.
kind of nerdy too.
Right.
They don't really.
They're so into science.
But that's it, right? They're not part of the real world, so they are always separate apart.
A lot of times they lack social skills.
Exactly. Yes, and that's how I saw her. She probably didn't have social skills yet. I thought, no, she was a nanny and a tutor. So why I could see her being a good mother. You know, I really could see that she was used to children and her relationship with her sister, obviously. So that's why at first I just thought, well, I don't care for her, you know. But I did like the fact that when they showed the wedding, that she was in a dark dress. I don't know if you saw that. Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, another story that I always read, that she used to work in that dress. That's why she picked it. She didn't want a white dress that would get dirty. She wants something that was practical.
Right.
And again, that mentality of not having a lot of money. So no, if I'm going to buy this, I want to use it, you know. And that's the kind of Madam Curie I've always sort of pictured.
Yeah.
Someone who's practical, scientific. Her goal is this, passionate about her husband, and I'm assuming her family. Because she even wanted to go back to Poland, you know, to visit her father and all things like that. In fact, I think that's what she was going to do. She was going to move back to Poland. And I think Pierre I don't know if he had proposed or not, but she says, no, I'm going back to Poland because she wanted to study. Of course, still, they're not allowing women to study. So it's like, oh, let me come back and or stay with you, and they get married. And was probably one of the greatest decisions she's ever made in her life. If you can picture that, right? That I say that a woman, best decision she made is marrying this man because they did great science. Now, one thing I didn't like were the flashbacks. I almost wish that was left to the end because I understand why they put it in, but also I read, because I had to do research on this, I thought this is an odd telling of this story. Was it's based on a graphic novel? I don't know if you saw that.
It was based on a novel?
A graphic novel, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's why I thought, oh, that's why it has a certain look. Like you said, it has a really specific look. Because at times, they really drop out. Or like I said, the cafe scene. Right. It's so sepia-toned or something. So it has a unique look. But like I said, that I thought that second half of her whole life, I never knew. Or, for example, another thing I never knew was about her husband's obsession with the supernatural.
Oh, yeah.
That was sort of a bizarre thing that came out of nowhere that I didn't know about. Now, I don't know if that's true because I haven't done the research, but I thought that's a possibility because I sort of get what he's talking about.
I was like, we're going to be sitting in the dark in a minute.
So did you like it?
Well, like I said, I didn't like the first part, but that second, like the first 45 minutes, but that last hour is wonderful. I was like, this is what I want to see. I'm learning more new stuff about her, you know. And again, you know, I like the fact that, you know, once the kids, their two daughters find out, they actually congratulate her. I thought, see, this is how kids were raised back then. They were educated, they were polite, they showed gratitude toward their parents.
Supportive.
I mean, everything.
Can you imagine that? No.
Yeah.
But she came to New York in 1921, and she got a reception like the Queen just showed up.
Right.
And the daughters didn't know why. Because she would never. She was super famous, but then she never pushed it.
Think of the fact that they never patented their discovery, right? They could have made millions because they do mention it in here, but it was so true. When I found out that there was like radium tooth, everybody wanted to glow.
Yeah.
They all want to glow. So they're wearing it, they're doing it. They had no idea what the effects. Exactly. So it's amazing how famous she was. And again, that scandal that happened and stuff like that. Like, I didn't know, for example, like George had said, I was like, no, she went to both of them, her Nobel Prizes.
But again, she's apparently the first person to win more than
two.
One.
Right, to win two, and in two different categories, because one in physics and one in chemistry. And that's what I mean. This is one of the most fascinating women in history of all time, period. I mean, I've always admired the fact that she was a woman and could have the career she had and do as much as she did, and to still have her notes locked away. And I don't know if this is true. This is another thing I read. You have to sign an agreement because this is all radioactive. All her notes and her study. And she's even buried in a lead coffin because of this. That you need to sign a waiver saying, okay, I understand that I will be exposed to huge amounts of radioactivity if I study her notes. So, I mean, and that's why I thought,
That makes sense.
Picture this woman not knowing the effects of what this is going to happen, which is why I understand why people liked, like you said, the cancer research and especially the Hiroshima bomb. When the boy throws the plane, you see the man looking up, then you see the plane in the back. That's beautifully done. I can't deny how powerful that is. It's that image, but I just thought it was so strange to insert it the way they did. That's why I said I almost wish they left it at the end, but. It doesn't even make as much sense.
I thought it was interesting that 2 of our movies they did during a war. That was the First World War,
right?
And the dig was the Second World War.
Yeah.
So that was kind of in the background of 2 of the movies. Right. I don't. Not with mine. Okay.
Can we rate?
Yes. Let's rate. Okay, so that was your movie, right? Okay, Josh.
Yeah, I'll give it a 8. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9.
Oh, I gave it a 7.
That's good for you. Okay,
Yeah,
it is.
excellent
I give it a
for
9.
you.
I give it a 9.
Okay, so
That's it.
that we have to turn the lights on. It was getting so
I
dark
know.
in here. So that ends this episode of What the Flicks. You can listen to the audio of this podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spreaker, and Amazon Music. Look for What the Flicks podcast. You can watch this video on YouTube, and we're going to try and do a live feed of this pretty soon on YouTube, but we're kind of getting our feet wet with Twitch. So thank you, Twitch people. So you can get us on YouTube's on What the Flicks. You can send us your comments and suggestions at whattheflickspodcast@gmail.com. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe. And that's it.
Okay, bye. Bye-bye.
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 Yeah, bye-bye.